So we're going to start with a reflection using the Heart Sutra. So if you have your prayer book, and turning to page 6. Okay, so again, we can read this together, or if you'd prefer to just listen, that's okay. But this time, we're going to stop at the end of page 7. Stop at the end of page 7 and just take a minute to process how we understand that so far. And then we'll continue on and stop at the bottom of page 8 and stop at the bottom of page 9. So we'll just be pausing a few times. And this way of using a text for reflection is a really nice thing to do if you want to go deeper with a topic, but you haven't studied it tons, so you need some sort of structure. So this is a really good method to use. And it's also a good way to set and clarify your motivation. Okay, so we'll just use the Heart Sutra because it's a related topic to what we're doing. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did I hear at one time. The Bhagavan was dwelling on massive Vulture's Mountain in Rajagriha together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the profound activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. And just pausing there, especially those last 2 lines, correctly and repeatedly beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. 5 aggregates being form, feeling, discrimination, primary consciousness, compositional factors, which are all the rest of the mental factors, like intention. That all of those lack inherent nature, meaning they don't come about all by themselves. So Shariputra asks Avalokiteshvara, how do I achieve the perfection of wisdom? Meaning, how do I cut the root of samsara? And the answer is those last 2 lines on page 7. Correctly and repeatedly beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. So just sit with your understanding of that so far. What does that mean? What impact does it have on your mind? And continuing on. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomena. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. And so just processing that. What ideas do you have? What questions do you have when you think about those ideas? And to say without characteristic, know this or know that, doesn't mean nothing. It refers to the page before, meaning no inherently existent, any of these things. There is no I that comes about all by itself, no ears or nose either. None of them self-creating or self-perpetuating without other influences. So what does it do to you to think about that? And continuing. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly, completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. And so before we get to the mantra, we just think about the rest of page 9. So if there is no inherently existent suffering, no inherently existent origination, no inherently existent cessation, no inherently existent path, the Four Noble Truths, meaning they don't come about all by themselves. The causes, the results, the ones to be adopted, the ones to be abandoned, None of them arise alone. The problem doesn't arise alone. The solution doesn't arise alone. And realizing this lack of inherent existence cuts all fear. Fear of disturbing emotions within oneself and what they create. All forms of suffering and samsara. So just trying to bring into your mind what you understand so far, as well as clarifying where you're confused and need more information. Both ideas, questions, and doubts are all ways towards wisdom. So just sit with what comes up. And continuing on page 10. Tayata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisoha. Shariputra, the bodhisattva mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagawan arose from that concentration and commended the bodhisattva mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagawan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, and those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagawan. And so thinking about the mantra, that according to Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, an easy way to explain the meaning is that it says, it is thus, gone completely beyond, awakened, so be it. Meaning the 5 paths, for those of you that have studied the 5 paths. But in general, meaning that enlightenment is achieved through stages, not all at once. And then Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara finished their conversation, their debate. And the Buddha arises from his concentration and says, they've done it correctly. So he's showing that the wisdom he's achieved is not his alone. His students can develop it as well. It also shows that a Buddha can be aware of both relative and ultimate truth at the same time, whereas for ordinary beings, we're only aware of relative truth. and Arya beings, before they become enlightened, can become aware of ultimate truth, but only in meditation. When they're out of meditation, relative truth still appears. But a Buddha can see both at the same time. And this is our potential as well. So what does it mean to your mind to think enlightenment is developed in stages, not all at once? That it's a process, one you've already begun. And just letting go of any ideas that you have to be finished before you even begin, or understand everything before you have to start. You've already started. Understanding will come. Okay, and so putting the text to the side, and now we'll do meditation. Okay. So now we're going to try to very delicately explore that clear and knowing nature of the mind, the way it responds to what it reflects. So there is always an object in the mind, whether a thought, whether other kinds of mental factors. There are always things going on in the mind. And so just notice what's coming up in the mind, while mainly keeping your focus in that spacious clarity. So you could imagine that your mind is like a mirror, and you're staying connected to the mirror while still noticing what is being reflected within it. So taking a minute to reconnect with your positive motivation. Uplifting the mind by remembering every moment you put effort in is building your strength. And every bit of transformation you do internally brings more benefit to the greater world, increases your positive impact on this earth. And moving your focus to the breath. And at first have a relaxed focus. Just watching the breath, but very loosely at first. You can be a little bit interested in your thoughts, a little bit interested in what's going on, but just very gradually starting to sharpen your focus on the breath. But it's okay to start out loose. And bring your focus more and more to the entire length of the breath, all the way in and all the way out. Just relaxing into that simplicity, coming home to yourself. And slowly sharpen up the focus, brighten up the focus on the breath, becoming more and more attentive, allowing less and less distraction, but still just on the breath. And consciously move your focus into the spacious clarity mind, giving that your interest. So be with its reflective quality, but also start to notice what it reflects, the way that it changes. When there is boredom, you know there is boredom. When there is peace, you know there is peace. When attachment is present, you know that. Just whatever is reflected, knowing it without following it. Watch the reflections. mainly with the reflective quality. Your mind could be like a clear mountain lake when there is no wind and it becomes a perfect mirror. And reflected in it is birds passing by and the clouds above. But those reflections don't change the water. And don't fall into the reflections, just watch them. Be with the mind's ability to reflect. Try to be fully absorbed in the reflective quality. And you're completely allowing whatever reflections arise to arise, whatever thoughts and feelings, all of the mental factors, all of them can come, no problem. But you just see them as reflections. Be absorbed in that spacious clarity, not worried about what passes by. And dedicate to yourself. Okay, little 1-minute break.